Good evening, YouTubers. I felt very inadequate when I had thrown in the towel, I thought, too easily and sold the business and decided to just look after the other business from a distance and work at home. But I was far too young to retire and do nothing. I think I was in my late 40s, and so I set up a workshop in my house garden and imported the lathe and presses and all the things I needed to do things, and I did work for my friends in the trade. I did engine repairs for them, reboring of cylinders and making valve guides and various other bits of sort of lathe work and things that they needed doing, and that was very rewarding. Well, it was rewarding reasonably financially, but it was rewarding that I was able to continue making a few dollars with my own hands. But what it did, of course, it gave me so much extra free time, which was wonderful. I mean, who wouldn't want to be in that situation? And I did appreciate the fact. But I could do my work in the workshop whenever I liked. Obviously, I could work at midnight and have the whole next day to do other things. So it was looking back, in fact, it was very good, although I was unhappy about being such a wimp and giving in too easily with regard to getting rid of that business. But the other business was doing quite well, and it did provide an income, as I said, so there really was nothing to worry about. And one of the things that I rather foolishly did in my spare time, I got involved with horses. My children were having riding lessons, and they let's shut the door while the telephone answer machine gets on. Were having riding lessons, and they were getting a little bit bored with it, and I thought, oh well, I will go and I'll go and join them, and that might help. And I thought, oh well, so what's the problem with riding horses? I'm this tough motorcyclist, I've got good balance, I'm the kiddie. But of course, as you know, how wrong can you be? I was shot down in flames very quickly. The first time I got on a horse, it knew I was terrified, and they do know that. But nevertheless, as you might expect, I persevered, and my pride was dented considerably, but I persevered, and I got good enough to stay on anyway. I've had more broken bones and things and from riding horses than I ever did with motorcycling, but once you get involved with horses, many of you will know there's just some sort of addiction that keeps you going. And we used to this was a hunt yard, a livery situation where horses were kept at horrendously expensive weekly rates for the owners who wanted to come and ride them and didn't want the bother of looking after them, whereas I really was in the reverse situation, that I'd rather look after them than ride them. But we took them out in a string in the mornings quite early on, and kept them fit that way, and then we made their beds, watered and fed them, and let them rest, and then we were allowed to go for our rest. And why I'm telling you that really is, as you, all of the staff in the stables were young girls and women, so we went into the tack room and sat on straw bales and made our coffee, and we had our break. And believe you me, I learned more about women in those few years than I ever knew before. It's an education everybody should have. They just talked about their women problems quite openly. They talked about their boyfriends and what they'd done, where they'd been, and it was a great experience, is all I will say, but it was fun. And one day, this little story might amuse you. What's the time? We're not too bad. One girl and I were told to go and get 2 horses in from a couple of fields away, and so we plodded through this ploughed muddy field with our head collars in our hand, and in front of us was this tall lanky bloke with a long grey coat on almost down to the floor, and 2 lurcher dogs, beautifully disciplined, walking at heel, and he'd got suede shoes on. I thought, that's odd, she said, do you know who that is? And I said, I haven't the faintest idea. And she said, it's Charlie Watts. I said, oh my God, right. So every time I look at the Rolling Stones now, I hone in on Charlie sitting at the back there playing the drums with his dour sort of bored-looking expression, and I remember that occasion. The reason that he was there was that his wife Shirley had a horse there, which we were going to fetch in from the field, and that was being schooled for Western riding, which is a very good, a very lovely, disciplined way of riding. However, I like the Rolling Stones. Their music is coloured by their love of the blues, so very much in favour of them. It's been a hell of a rather silly ramble, hasn't it? But I'm trying to sort of rush through because I want to get to the next thing I did, which was something which did completely change my life and my opinions of all sorts of things, and it occupied me in the way of education for at least 7 years. So well, I mean, thank you, and I hope I'll get chapter 6 uploaded fairly soon. Until then, thank you for watching, and goodbye.